Exploration between the divine and the human converses with verses. Quantum dialogues between the divine and the human reveal themselves as a phenomenon of poetic quantum entanglement. Poetry serves as a quantum spiritual interface, where verses are not mere expressive vehicles but open quantum systems. They allow for the superposition of identities, with the poet as a medium coexisting in a state of dual belonging, earthly and transcendental. Through semantic tunneling, we jump logical barriers via images that connect seemingly unrelated planes. Sacred entropy disorders, meanings to reveal hidden patterns in the chaos of the ineffable. Is the poem a hadron collider where particles of the human and photons of the divine collide? How can we distinguish between inspiration and possession when verses flow like interdimensional rivers? If every metaphor is a bridge between realities, what physical law governs the transit of meanings? The conversion of the human into the divine follows laws analogous to the physics of black holes. The lyrical event horizon marks a point of no return where ordinary language bends under the gravity of the sacred. Emotional Hawking radiation represents the energy released when human emotions evaporate into mystical abstraction. The singularity of meaning occurs at the moment when all possible interpretations collapse into a point of revelatory silence. What critical mass of verse is needed to create a poetic white hole emanating divine light? How can we prevent literary transcendence from generating an existential void in the fabric of everyday reality? Is meter a form of quantum gravity that contains the infinite expansion of meaning? Advanced techniques for navigating the divine-human interface include resonant cognitive dissonance, which alters the reader's vibrational frequency through calculated contrasts, such as, God plays dice with my bones while my verses load the dice. The ontological butterfly effect involves micro-images that generate hurricanes of existential reinterpretation. Chronopoetic mirrors are structures that reflect different eras simultaneously, challenging temporal linearity. What ethical protocol should govern the use of metaphors as dimensional portals? How do we maintain quantum coherence when verses oscillate between blasphemy and enlightenment? Is rhyme a quantum technology for synchronizing spiritual frequencies? The process of poetic transubstantiation follows three alchemical phases. Interrogative negredo, which decomposes ordinary language through corrosive questions. Relational albedo, which purifies through dialogue with universal archetypes. And transcendent rubedo, which integrates the divine into the syntactic blood of the poem. What residue remains of the poet when the verses complete their transfiguration into autonomous entities? How do we calibrate the dose of chaos and order to avoid mystical intoxication? Is it possible to write poems that function as spiritual time machines? The divine-human dialogue reaches its climax in these questions that challenge the limits of perception. Are we humans the interpreters of the divine? Or is the divine perhaps the fiction that allows us to endure the human? What happens when a verse manages to contain more eternity than the observable universe? Authentic virality is born here as a spiritual phenomenon, when a verse manages to be both mirror and window simultaneously, reflecting our wounded humanity while showing glimpses of the divine that dwells within us. The truth.